Thanks very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you talking to us a little bit about mobile and education.
You're welcome.
The reason for wanting to get together with you is mobile education, for lack of a better term, using the equipment that is very prevalent now in a student's hands to help educate them rather than see it as a distraction. So tell me, just in your broad overview, tell me what you think of, what are your feelings towards integrating mobile education?
Well, first of all, I think it's a responsibility of schools to take the lead, because right now we're graduating students that are going out into the workforce or going into their post-secondary options, and there's digital expectations there, and they're not ready for those. We can't expect as parents, as educators, to have our students' casual and leisure use of technology prepare them for their work and educational use of technology, and that's no longer a desktop down the hall in a classroom. For me, that is the device in your hand. It's the tablet, it's the laptop, it's the access through your smartphone. And it's happening whether we want it to or not. We have students in our high schools that will sneak in those $10 hotspots and set up a little network, and they're off and running.
That really happens?
That happens all the time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so we've got to get a little bit ahead of this, because I believe we have a responsibility to be teaching the ethical use of these tools, the analytical use of these tools, and the moral use of these tools. And if we're not, then it's not happening. They're using it for a much different purpose. When you talk about all the content that's available, whether it's iTunes University or California has a huge project now where they're putting all the content that you need to meet the Common Core standards online. The content's out there, and much of it is free. So why do we continue to have $100,000 budgets for textbooks and big old backpacks with loading kids down when all they need is a tablet? Or and it just makes their learning easier. It makes it anytime learning, and we know that learning doesn't happen in a vacuum. You're curious about something, you're motivated to go seek the answer. You want to learn a new skill, you go and find the training to make that happen. We're trying, I believe, that bringing digital tools into the learning environment is really more aligned to the natural way we learn. Our brains function. And so getting those resources right to the student right when the learning is occurring is really critical. Right now we have desktops in labs, and they go down and you have to fix them, so you hire technicians, and so you've got the system built around that. If you don't have that and you have mobile devices, maybe you're leasing them for 2 to 3 years so that you have the most recent technology in the hands of your teachers and your learners all the time, and you're not worried about that. You don't need technicians because the user can solve the problem.
So it can be more cost effective.
I believe it can be.
It can be. So tell me about the different types of ways that you're engaging, you see engaging students with mobile smartphones, laptops, tablets, that sort of a thing. What do you see?
I see a lot of different advantages. Number one, I think all students should have blended learning opportunities, meaning it should be in the classroom, but also that learning, that content, the collaboration with their teacher and the dialogue with their peers should be able to happen anytime. So they should be able to go home, go into an online environment where they're working on their science, they're working on their math. They can collaborate with their peers on how to solve these problems or what they thought about the reading. So I believe, number one, that has to happen. And number two, I think that we need to bring in those components that kids really get engaged with, like the videos, the podcasting, those creating, making the learning come alive for them. And that's done too by reaching out across the globe to other learners and to make that learning more relevant for them. So beyond that, I see some students can handle a more online environment. Personally, I think most learners need a blended type of environment where they have both opportunities, because of the social and emotional needs of our students are just as important as their academic and digital needs are. I also see so many advantages. Like, for example, right now we have teachers that video archive little vignettes, little video clips of an experiment, a lecture, and they'll have students watch that at home and then come to the classroom and then be involved in the discussion or the activity or the engagement. So it's almost like, some people call it flipping the classroom. So instead of coming to class, listening to the lecture, asking some questions, you're doing that learning at home, and maybe you're a student that needs to listen to it a couple of times. Then you're coming to class and you're ready to get to work and you're ready to engage, and your teacher's right there to answer your questions, and you're collaborating with peers, which is an essential 21st century skill.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the other aspects of the mobile learning. And does it allow for a more customized learning environment for a student?
Yes, that's one of the great things about some of the emerging technology. I don't know if you've heard of the School of One out of New York.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be in Minnesota up at the TIES conference in December. And that technology and some other emerging software is really helping us to put in all sorts of information about a student, and then kind of pops out where they should be working. Mm-hmm. And there's even software, for example, we give what we call the NWEA MAP test in our district, which assesses math and reading and literacy. And that assessment gives parents and teachers by strand, like comprehension, inference, geometry, algebra, by strand where you are at in your learning continuum. And so there's software now that you can match with that, and it's almost like gaming for students. And they're working on their skills that are deficit skills. And it also works for gifted and bright learners, because even if you're up here, then the software will let you work at your level. Mm-hmm. So we're often referring to that as personalized or customized learning. And instead of, okay, the chapter's over, we're moving on, we can create a system where you're working at the pace and right at your level where you need to be. And so software and technology can give us the opportunity to do that.
So we did a little piece not too long ago on gamification and how gaming is finding its way into more and more things. So this is really a natural extension of that trend.
It is. We talked earlier about higher forms of learning, and simulations are one of them, and that's what gaming is. Mm-hmm. It's a simulation. You have to solve problems. You have to think critically, and it's a good thing. That's what makes our brains work.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.